Let me see.
Oh, wait. It should be this one.
Do we have video for Gary?
You should.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
I do
Maybe.
now.
Now we do.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Different computer Skype fuckery is totally in the possibility today. There you go.
Okay. So if you're clicking on something else or looking at the comments, you'll have to, it'll stop your video.
I guess. I don't know.
What were you doing just now? Like before you?
I was in Chrome looking at the dock and moving stuff around. And
Yeah. So go back to Chrome real quick.
why can't I? Clicky, 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 scrolly, scrolly.
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah, that's
My Backblaze backup is finished.
Okay.
okay.
Not really sure
Well,
what
it
that means.
really helps considering I barely used my computers for the last like 3 or 4 days.
Ah. Okay.
My apologies to everybody out there for that one.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That's okay.
Oh, you didn't hear me? Just
Burp.
yeah.
No, I didn't.
I just heard a.
No.
Oh, it snuck up on me, and I was like, oh, too late. What the heck? Oh, because I can't see Jeff, but I also can't see myself. I have no idea what I look like right now. So yeah,
You
there's
look
that.
fine.
Oh, you guys. I am so sore.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I know.
So, as far as I can tell,
Mhm.
the song is not on any album around the time the movie came out. I can check this brand new album because they didn't disband it in 1999. So I'm just now.
Scandaloso.
Scandalo. So, yeah. It's not on their album, so yeah. It is not on any of their albums. So it literally showed up probably on the best of, right?
Maybe, and I don't even know if it's on there. Like in
No.
Amazon.
It's not on the best of.
Yay! I picked such an obscure song. It is located in one place and one place only.
Is it on the greatest hits? No.
Wow.
Well, it's the Salt and Pepper hits.
This is a travesty of gay proportions. I cannot believe that this is just in one place and one place only.
Great Hits remix? Nope. No. No, and that's the last one that I can look at. So yeah, at least in regards to well, let's look at their discography because I'm here. Unless it was an earlier song, that's entirely possible. No. Nope.
I'm thinking that.
Nope. Sorry.
Good
There's an
morning,
album in
viewers.
1990. Hi,
Yes.
everybody.
Damon is doing intensive research.
That is for true.
He has his Indiana Jones archaeological hat on because the mofo is trying to dig through old shit and try to find something. which I think we've discovered doesn't exist
Yeah.
anywhere.
Nope. 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 No and no. I mean, as far as I can tell, it wasn't released as a single. It's not on any of their regular albums. It's not on any of their compilation albums, unless there's two that I can't look at, but those are more recent than they are. So yeah, so it's only there. I mean, that's not something like new or different. Like I've seen artists write songs for a movie, and it's just for the movie.
Yeah. That's fine. Everything's fine here.
Well, it's just be like, I wanted to, you know how you want to like come up with something.
So is the Too Long Fu soundtrack not available on anything digital?
Well, it's not available through Amazon. And I prefer to get my music still in a fucking MP3 form. Thank you very much. So that's why I don't get shit from iTunes.
I have no problems playing anything that I have.
That's great.
Also because I'm playing pretty much everything on an iOS device.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the crazy thing is like all my stuff's Apple now, practically. But
you prefer MP3s.
Well, right, because like if I want to share the song with somebody or make sure that it's going to play notably anywhere, because otherwise,
also accurate.
Well, that's the problem. It's like if it's in the M4A or whatever for iOS stuff, then it has to be like, do you have iTunes? And it's like, no, I ain't got time for that.
I was doing the drag show a couple years ago, and I had gotten the song from iTunes, and I had burned it, like it and a couple of other songs, to a CD to perform. And I take the CD there because I even played it in my CD player to see if it would work. Yeah, it looked like it did. Well, I didn't play it in like a separate. I played it on my computer. Anyway, take it to the show. Get ready. I'm about to perform my number, and the DJ's like, "Your CD doesn't work." And I'm like, "No, it should work, dear. I checked." And he's like, "No, whatever song you're about to do is not showing up, but I've got it on like his, plethora of music that he's probably downloaded himself." It was a popular song. I can't remember which one it was. So I was able to do it, but it was like, I know I just burned it. So, and I remember now, that's the one thing I remember more than anything else, that was one of the few songs I had bought
I understand.
Yeah. So
you were supposed to burn it as a CD, not an MP, not just burn the file to the
right.
Yeah, we had to. Usually, that's what we do. Now, nowadays, a lot of the DJs and a lot of the queens and what have you are getting hip with the times, and they're bringing in like actually like flash drives and putting it on, just giving it to the
That's because
DJ.
Everything's played instead of like through CD player or a.
Yeah, it's all pretty much digital now.
Yeah, everything's going to be on a computer, which means as long as they have an appropriate player that can play it, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, and that's really kind of what it comes down to now. It's like, do you have it in digital? And like, if it doesn't come off your flash drive or your phone, like, you best have a cloud publicly like available link, bitch, so you can get access to that.
Yeah.
Good morning, Arrow. MP3 is superior format. Well, I kind of think so right now, although that's about to go away because there's another new public digital format that's richer than MP3. Apparently, that's going to be coming in the next year or so. I don't know.
Yeah, MP3. I wouldn't necessarily say it's superior because you can still DRM MP3. And honestly, M4As, the Apple, like if you get some from iTunes, it's still DRM free. So you just need to have a player that can play it is all. So, and iTunes tends to have a 256-bit format. Which, I think they actually started that when they started the iTunes store. So they did have higher qualities of audio formats. You just need a player that can play it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it has to be iTunes as long as it can play M4As. I think VLC can do that. So,
well,
I think I haven't tried. I haven't needed to.
Yeah,
but VLC kind of tries to be able to play anything. And M4As are just supposed to be MPEG-4 audio. So it's kind of like MP4.
Such a stimulating pre-show conversation.
I know, right?
Indeed. Well, we should probably get started.
Since we're kind of like sort of on a schedule, so we should probably get this shit going. So of course, as tradition, test. Exactly.
What?
So it sounds like you could hear it. Although you can hear the other thing, which you played before we went live. Because I'm keeping that as a surprise for everybody.
Surprises. We love surprises, even though we already know what the surprise is.
Well, you guys know what the surprise is, but not the listeners.
Be ready for a surprise.
Let's do this someday, shall we?
Yeah.
And 3, 2. July 15th, 2018. I'm Jeff.
Who's your bear? That's right. I am your bear.
I'm Damon.
I don't brew the tea, I just serve it.
And that makes me Gary.
Don't hurt nobody with your bad self.
And welcome to It Comes Out Loud, the Bear Podcast of Indeterminate Length, episode number 471. And apparently we're hungry. I don't know, something like that.
Dude, I almost choked on a pizza bone. It was all nearly life-threatening. Like, I just didn't know.
You almost choked on Dane?
Oh. Good one.
No. That probably would have been better.
I know.
I wouldn't be choking. Well, that could potentially be choking on. Wait, never.
Yes, I'm the laziest person in the world.
Okay.
Admit it. Because at least in the past 4 days or so, I've just been sitting on the couch trying to play something on the television and playing the post game of Pokemon Sun. Trying to catch them all, and I ran into a few things. It's like, oh, there's this battle tree thing, and oh, I got a message saying I should go speak to these people so I can catch Ultra Beasts, and then I go and they're Pokemon are 61, and I'm like, so not prepared for this. I get totally annihilated. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go like try to fill out my Pokédex. And then I learned about the global trading system. Found out there were some that I can't just catch in Pokemon Sun because, of of course they want you to spend money to get the other version so that you can catch the other ones. But then how do you get it for the Pokedex and the original one? So I'm like, well, I don't need to buy the other one. I just go into this global trading system and trade something. I figured out how to breed. So I started to be like, wait a minute. I can't get, like, capture in the wild the original starter Pokemon? And then, but you could just trade it. All you need to do is get a Ditto and then drop your Ditto and your original Pokemon off at the nursery, and they'll create eggs, which will then give you your Pokemon. Then you could just trade it through the global trading system. And I'm like, oh. Mission, Ditto. Went to get a Ditto, popped him in. He's been just pooping out eggs like you wouldn't believe.
That great.
Then I just make sure I got a Pokemon with a flame body, so I have the egg in my party, and then I can walk around, and that speeds up the hatching of the egg because the flame body kind of keeps the egg warm. And then it's just catch them all. And then I'm like, oh, there's also this demo of a game which I'm going to be talking about later, and then I buy it, and then I complete it within a day or two, and I'm like, I am sad, and the story hasn't finished. Why isn't there more game here? What's going on? A little upset about that. And so,
okay,
we'll talk about that later. But other than that,
nice.
I finally got back into more Critical Role because they have finished moving into their new studio. So they had their first episode in the new studio, which looks pretty snazzy. Yay. And also that night, I decided to break out my dice bag, and I actually went to D&D Beyond and started actually rolling for like characters instead of just like using the preset stuff like standard arrays for having to roll hit points for like trying to get up to 20. So I had to roll like 20 of whatever health die and stuff. So I got to roll dice, and even if it was just to like fake create a character because I don't have a campaign. Anyways, that's me.
So when you were, I'm presuming, shaking your die bag, yeah, I was like, uh-oh, Jeff joined a mariachi band. He's got maracas. Something's up.
No.
It's actually a royal.
Heels on.
It's a Crown Royal bag, which I use as a dice bag.
Nice. Classic. A go-to.
It's great. I love it. I haven't used the dice in this dice bag, and I got so much dice. Not as much as Laura Bailey, who probably has like thousands of dice, but that's another matter altogether. Damon, what's going on with you?
It's hot, like fucking hot. So, and it's hot in my house,
like
because
hot?
the AC. So fucking hot. Like the AC in my house is not working again.
Oh no.
They came in on Tuesday to look at it. They said, okay, well, this is what we're going to start with. And the guy wasn't able to fix it, so I had to pay more to get the coil cleaned. So the guy came in on Thursday to do that. It was working ish on Thursday. It was cooling, at least, and it felt cold at the vents. And literally yesterday and today, or Friday and today, yesterday and today, it's just been like awful. So call them. They're coming hopefully Tuesday, if not again, if not sooner, to check it out again. But in the meantime, it means I'm sitting in, like, I've got a window open, I've got a fan going on above me. Upstairs, we have fans going because it's hotter upstairs because heat rises. And yeah, it's just been crazy. So, and it's been like, I can't really do much. I don't do much else. I should get out and go do stuff, but I go to work, and this is my summer where a lot of the things I would normally do like during the week are kind of done for the week. Like chorus is done. So yeah. So I just come home and I sweat and I glisten, I should say. And
welcome to David and Jim's sauna home.
Yeah.
Please take your clothes off and enjoy your stay.
Basically. I'm downstairs and I sit and have clothes off.
So a couple tips. Definitely have fans.
Yeah.
One thing I really liked in one of my old apartments, I had a ceiling fan right above my bed. It was amazing.
Yeah. We don't have that yet. And our fan
I like that. Though. You said yet.
Well, it could be a potential improvement.
I would put that a little bit higher on the checklist.
Yeah. Well,
because us being bears, you know, sometimes you need that extra cooling power, right?
What we've got is we have a really, well, not really nice, but a small box fan in the window, and it's just like
blowing right over.
Especially at night, it's great because it cools down just enough at night, and with the fan going, it's decent to where it's not hot as hell, hot as balls, hot as whatever you want to call it. And then
it only like 90 degrees or something.
No, it's not that. It's not even that. It's much less than that.
So you're actually at a nice temperature.
Upstairs, I would think so, kind of. I mean, now that we have the fan going, but as the day progresses.
Okay, I'm actually gonna take a look at the weather where you are.
It's gonna bake you.
Yeah, basically.
And take a look at the weather because I'm gonna be like, ha ha ha. You call that hot?
Yeah. It's right now. It is currently, if this will update for me, 76. Maybe more. Go to Weather Channel. Hello, Weather Channel. That's always faster. It's 81 right now outside. It's going to get up to 85. It was much warmer yesterday, and there was humidity and heat and seas and all that shit.
Right now it's 82 at 9:47 in the morning. The high is going to be 96 today, so it's actually quite cool. Humidity 31%.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to be, it's hot. So
rest of the week is it's highs in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Oh, that's here in Texas.
Yeah.
Where it's also humid.
Yay.
All the freaking time.
Yeah. Anyway, Gary, how are you?
I'm sore.
Gee, why?
Like everywhere. Well, so a couple weeks ago I came down to Pittsburgh. I thought friends of mine were moving. They weren't. They made a discussion with the landlord that they were going to stay until February, at which point I had told them, I was like, oh, well, February's not a fun time of year to move, just so you know, because we're up north where it snows. And they're like, yeah, we know, blah, blah, blah. Like, he wants to be able to, like, finish doing some remodeling and flip the house to sell it, which is the whole intent when the landlord originally bought it. And then I got contacted last week, and they were like, we're moving, like, this coming weekend.
Wow.
So if you could come down. Oh, yeah. It's been a whirlwind. So long story short is, friend of other family member had a place they were trying to sell. They had it lined up. The person was going to move out, or the person was going to buy. The deal fell through. A mutual family member had already moved out. So suddenly it was, hey, there's a space here. It's available. And it's like a third of the price of what they were paying for rent for a house. So, nice. Yeah. So came down here. What, Thursday? Yeah. Thursday evening. And then Friday, we did lots of packing. And moving of a 3-bedroom, 3-story home. And then, yeah.
Well, 2-story and a full basement, basically. And then yesterday came back to do the cleaning, which the cleaning ended up turning into renting a van because not everything fit in the moving truck the day before. And finishing up that and doing the majority of cleaning. So as soon as we're done with the podcast, I get to go back to said house and finish what little bit there is in the dining room to clean up the floor, the bottom of the stairwell, and the living room, and the front hallway and closet. And yeah, so
Gary's getting a lot of exercise.
I walked 29,000 plus steps yesterday.
Yay,
It's
Fitbits.
like
Or Apple
15
Watches.
miles. Oh my God. Like,
So you closed your circles. Or closed your rings.
I didn't even pay any attention. I was just so tired. So
Yeah, I'm done.
well, I mean, we were unloading at midnight last night, like from the van and stuff. And this is even with 4 people helping on Friday, 2 people to help load the moving truck, and another 2 people to help unload the moving truck on the other end. Because we are all old, and we are all fat. We are all unfit and can't really lift and move heavy shit. So yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of me when I moved into here like 3 years ago. It's like, okay, I can literally do this much. I'm sorry. Like, but we had help, and it's good when you have help. Like, moving sucks overall. Moving by yourself or moving with like one other person sucks even more because it's just you and that other person. And if one of you can't do something and the other person can't do something.
Well, we were quite the trio because my best friend, well, one of my best friends, the 2 of them together, one of them has migraine issues. So that kind of becomes debilitating at certain points. The other one was in a car accident a month ago in which they got rear-ended. So they just found out from the MRIs that their spine is compressed. So they're going to need to have surgery for that. So they have some nerve damage and they can't really lift anything. And then, and I'm just, out of shape and all that. So we were quite the match.
Yeah.
So last night there was an offer of a certain concoction compressed into pill format that may help me sleep, which I took and I very much enjoyed because then when it finally hit me and I was laying on the brand new air mattress that I bought yesterday because the one that I got from my dad. So sidebar, for all you big boys out there, save yourself all the pain and suffering of what I've already done, which is when you have an air mattress, you need to get a big one. And I don't mean like queen or king size. I mean like depth. Because standard air mattresses are only about maybe 6-8 inches deep. And when you a big boy and you fill it up, whether or not there's a leak, like you're gonna sink down in. And if it leaks, you're going to hit the floor sooner than you expect. Like not fast, but just, you'll wake up and you'll feel like that feels hard.
Like
not the kind you like.
It's as if I was sleeping on the floor the entire time.
Well, not so much. It's just kind of like your hip bone or your shoulder blade. Like you're just like, what the fuck? So yesterday I made a stop at Walmart on the way back to the new place and I bought myself a electric inflatable queen size air mattress, and I never touched the floor, thank God. So
yay,
well, that's good.
There's that. That's it.
Hey.
So yay, we'll finish the podcast.
We have thrilling weeks.
We'll finish the podcast so you can get back to the back-breaking work.
Well, when we finish the podcast, I need to go unload my car because I didn't even do that last night. So my car is empty, so I could go to the house to meet one of my friends. Both of them are at work right now. And then do some of the cleaning. One of them's meeting me after she gets out of work. And we'll finish up. And then we're still loading what we didn't fit in the van that didn't fit in the truck. and putting that stuff, and then we're gonna bring it back here, and we're gonna have dinner here tonight. So, although I don't know where, because the house is a disaster. Like, it kind of looked okay until we brought everything, and then I was like, oh.
Just give it a week or two, and
most
of it will be sorted out.
The thing is, like, I was just realizing, we can't sit at the dining room table because that's covered in stacks of clothes. There's no place to put a plate.
Clothes can be moved.
Well, that's true. Like, I'm in the third or bedroom / office, and literally I am surrounded by like boxes and stacks, and there's a footpath to kind of walk and get around. That's it.
It's a great studio room because there's a lot of absorption of sound.
Oh, that could be true. Anyways.
All right.
Anyways, moving on. Hey, folks, we do this out of the kindness of our hearts, and we try to make this as best we can. So we could use your support, and there's a couple ways you can support us. You can pop over to our Zazzle store, zazzle.com/cubsoutloud or cubsoutloud.com. Click on the COL merchandise link. We've got plenty of stuff on there. We've got, of course, got the relatively new Proud Out Loud shirts, which I'm wearing, which I'm very proud of because I made it. Oh, wait. No thanks. Kind of weird pop-up went over there. We got backpacks, t-shirts, towels. Of course, the things I'm really proud of: chili mugs, soup mug. I'm so happy for those. And we also have a speed bottle opener, which will be great for the Power Hour if you end up joining us for that. So please go check it out. We got great designs by Smashy in our Smashy collection. We've got hats such as the one that Gary is wearing.
Oh, chapeau. Yeah.
Now, do double check both of those. There's two different types of baseball caps that I have. Up there, one of them has kind of like a darker logo. One has a lighter version of the logo on the hat for if you want a darker color hat. So that it's, pops out a little bit more. And of course, we've got a trucker style hat too. So, and don't forget to watch for their site deals as well. Also, another way, and one we like to thank people for, is becoming a patron at patreon.com/cubsoutloud. Finally got it, so we could access the money now.
Woo!
We haven't spent a cent yet, but we will eventually soon here come up where we need to start fulfilling things. So, but don't worry, we're keeping track of that. Gary's keeping track of that.
I got a spreadsheet, y'all in it. It's color coded. It's beautiful.
Keep in mind, if you become a patron and we get up to $100 a month, we will have the random raffle. Where once a month we're going to, based off of certain selection of items in our COL store, we are literally going to roll the dice. And yeah, I got dice, baby. And we're gonna randomly figure out an item. We're gonna randomly select the person who will get it. Obviously, if it's some sort of type of clothing, we will make sure that it's your size. That would be the only thing that's not random, because we don't want to send you a shirt which you don't fit in, or it's too big.
Here's an extra small tank top. Enjoy.
But come on, think about it though. If you give them something small enough, they just wear it like a tube top, and then they just really off. So that could work.
Right.
I mean, if the person wants it, we're gonna ask you what size you want. So maybe you want to end up like getting it so that you give it to somebody else.
There you go.
And you give it, and you tell us their size. But
that's true. Okay. You could gift it to a trick when you're done and be like, "You were fun. Let's do this again. By the way, here's a free shirt. Check out this podcast."
Or, "Hey, here's a towel." No, go ahead, keep it.
Being yourself.
Anyway, let's with that, let's move into this. So, Gary, what's been going on over in Facebook land?
Over in Facebook, we got a comment regarding COL470, the porn factor, aka last week's show.
Mhm.
Chris Green said, really enjoyed this one. I grew up in the same era having the internet, and then in parentheses, dial-up, news groups, BBS sites. Hell yeah! Around high school. Having the internet around high school. He said, no one mentioned another of the old school methods of discovering porn, squinting at the blurred images on scrambled adult TV channels.
Yes, I totally forgot about that. What's worse, I forgot about the fact that I think we were talking about it pre-show, the fact that my parents had like Cinemax and HBO and Showtime. So you had those like late night softcore adult like TV shows. Like I saw many episodes of Real Sex on HBO. I saw episodes of Red Shoe Diaries, I think was on Showtime. And then Cinemax pretty much every night, not every night, like on the weekends, they pretty much had like an old like semi-erotic or actually just plain old like porn movie. Like,
well, I remember on Skinemax, as we used to call it back in the day, on Cinemax, I think there was an adult version of the Red Shoe Diaries. Mm-hmm. And then I remember distinctly, I wanted so badly to watch Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Yep.
There was a whole series of those because I was pretty sure I was going to see some peen. Like, it might have been flaccid, bouncing around, but I was still so.
And then I remember like the channels in the 90s, like the 98, 99, which were like the porn channels, which were like the Adam and Eve and Playboy and did Penthouse have a channel? I can't remember. I remember there being 3. And they were obviously, we didn't pay for them, but they were that very squiggly, like, you can't see this, kind of. You can hear
because
some of it too.
Because you're not paying for it.
Well, yeah. But my favorite part is if you knew somebody who knew somebody, you could probably get a coffee can that had been doctored with like certain kind of wiring and a coax cable in and out and a nut on top as an antenna. It's very specific, but I'm just imagining something. And you would hook that up, and then that would actually take like 90% of the fuzziness and the wavy away.
Huh.
Yeah, my godfather might have been, someone who dabbled in electronics and stuff.
Came up with the solution.
It just made the picture clearer,
Hey, what can you do? Probably a good thing.
Nice. Anyways. Good for that. That's awesome. I remember that.
David,
thanks for that.
What do we got over on YouTube?
So also on COL 470, Woofy commented, remember back in boarding school, boys would put pictures of naked women on their wall and it was super cool. I did it with big hairy men and suddenly no one visited my room. What is this injustice? Oh gosh, I have so many. I can talk forever on this. To appease the horny teenagers while I was at camp, and to kind of get them off my back because they thought I was gay. I was, but I wasn't out yet. I drew pictures of men and women doing stuff. Like, it wasn't the greatest because I'm a high schooler, but all they wanted were big boobs and penetration, and they were good. So that's what I drew. And since I one of the things I can do is I tend to be able to draw females better than men. I don't know why. Maybe it's just, I don't know, but whatever it is, I was able to do.
You're drawing drag queens.
Maybe that's it. I don't know, but it helped because it kind of like got them to back off, and that's what I did, and let them not. I mean, it made them kind of question the whole like, oh, he's a gay, so it kept him off my back.
Defense mechanism: draw women. Remember that, kids.
Basically. Yeah. Draw women well, mind you.
Anyways,
don't just draw a stick figure with like breast on the side. That doesn't do it.
Straight line, round circle. Anyways.
There you go. Yeah, that's not.
Or just like a sideways 8 or the infinity sign or something.
There you go. Yeah.
Then it will look like a bra. Anyways,
all right.
I believe we are now moving right into our topic.
And where is the body? Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna play that whole thing because of copyright claims. Anyways. So Gary, what are we talking about today?
Well, before we get into the topic, for those of you that don't know what the hell that was just now, get yourself an education. You need to go watch Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. It's the song that opens the movie where Patrick Swayze is getting done up in drags. And that song is by Salt and Pepper. You may have heard of them. They were very popular back in the 90s. We pre-show were discussing the fact that that son of a bitch song is not available in digital, apparently. So, yeah.
It's not even on iTunes. I did a search.
Yep.
And it's not even there.
So if you happen to have an old format of a thing called a CD-ROM, if you find that archaic version of how...
It's not CD-ROM. Because CD-ROMs are like the computer things. Well, this is
anyway.
Oh my god, nerdum explosion. Anyways, so
CD, a compact disc. It's kind of like a DVD, but it's like a lower format. It's like the predecessor to the DVD.
It's okay. I'm getting a taste.
Yeah.
Hose him down, David. Anyways, so that clip is by Salt and Pepper, and then they have that line, where is the body, which got me thinking for today's show. I want to talk about body positivity because there's sort of a movement afoot now, I think. It's very slow going about people owning their shape, their body, and being okay with it, even though it may not meet norm standards, so to speak. If you remember, we talked previously about the body movement art project. That's the
Arrested movement.
Yeah, the Arrested movement. But it got me thinking, and I was like, how do we feel, kind of about that stuff? I've been listening to a new podcast called Heavy Conversation. And it's by two guys. One of them is the online website domain creator for a community called Chubster. And the other one is the owner of Bearskin Underwear. And it's kind of coming out once a week. The shows aren't very long. They're probably maybe about half an hour, I believe. And they just have a conversation between the two of them about a random topic. And so they've talked about like exercising while big. Recently they were talking about where to buy clothes. And that kind of stuff, and the trials and tribulations. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, so how did we, discover body positivity? Do we feel that we have body positivity? What do we think that looks like? Because, the bear community has come into its own from the late 80s, early 90s till now. So we're talking very soon, if not this year, if they've been around since 88, we'll have bear clubs that are approaching 30 years. So there's that potential that there are guys out there that have been involved, since they were in their 20s or older. And I know for me, that was one of the refreshing things about finding the bear community. I was like, oh, like there's this thing called love handles, and they're not like a forbidden, kind of crazy thing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gary. That was one of the
You
things
love
that
those handles.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of the things that I remembered most about joining the bear community or getting involved mostly with it was that there were people who were very happy with being big, and not only happy, but like the whole about like positive. Like they enjoyed their size, they enjoyed their weight, they enjoyed that they were not the you know 100 and thin, like 100 and thin, 110
Mm-hmm.
thin, yeah, basically 100 and thin, like skinny, hairless, like guy. And while there's not a problem with that, and that's another kind of aspect of body positivity that I think we can focus on too, that wasn't the norm at the time. So when these bear groups came about, and for me joining them in like the late 2000s or early 2000s, it was the thing. Like it was great to see these people be happy, having their like fine with taking their shirts off and being in pool parties and being touched and allowing people to touch them and really enjoying and loving themselves. It's taken a lot, and for someone who I'll say like I'm not exactly 100% happy with my body, but I'm not making a lot of changes. Like I'm not doing a lot to make changes to change my body. So I'm kind of cool with it. I've kind of accepted that I'm always gonna be a bigger guy. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I think that's a difference between like the problem I tend to see, and it's something that I would like to talk about a little bit, is that there are people that will always see the negative in their shape. And that's what I think the best part about being the body positive and enjoying themselves is that you're loving what you have. And if you want to change it, you can change it. If you don't want to change it, you don't have to. You don't have to fit those norms.
Well, and I also think there's kind of levels of body positivity. Like if you take a look at your body and just like be like, overall, not thinking about specific parts or anything like that, are you good with your body? Are it's like I'm fine with the way I'm looking overall. Yes, body positive. You may have your like nitpicks. Like I'm not a fan of my moobs. Like I really wish I had the gumption to actually work my chest, like actually work out my chest, because I would assume that if I got like chest and arm muscles and everything.
Work it out.
If I work out my chest and arm muscles, the whole issue that I have with my moobs will change into something that I'm probably more of. And I've got these huge areolas, which are kind of annoying because there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I love those. And the thing is my nipples don't work. I mean,
if
you're gently like sucking on them because you like doing that, fine, that's fine. It's not necessarily going to do anything for me. Just saying, I'm okay with that. Yes, I know a lot of people like it, and I'm very happy that people like it. I'm not a fan, but the thing is, I don't think of it as like, oh my god, I can't believe I have these. It's like, I wish I could do something about it, but I'm way too lazy. And I know I could do something about it. You're welcome, Chris. I'm glad I'm turning you on. So it's like, no. I know I can do something about it. I kind of get an idea. In fact, one of my friends on Facebook, who's a massive guy, he's like over 400 pounds. He's trying to do something about it, but he's doing a lot of muscle training. So one of his friends one time when he had his shirt off, somebody said, "Did your nipples move?" And it was because while he was been burning off fat, his chest, because he's been working a lot in his chest, his nipples kind of moved up just because of like how muscles are changing the body. So, which to me is a very positive thing. I'm like, damn, I really wish I had your motivation to work those
And-
muscles so
and
that I
that's
could do the
the-
same thing. But like my belly, that my weight, and everything about it, I'm totally fine with. I'm totally happy with, which means I really feel positive. I just had these little nitpicks.
Yeah. And
Mainly
and-
with
and-
my moves. That's pretty much it. Although I
And one of the
kind
things
of wish I still had a second ball, but that's fine.
But one of the
Damon?
things I will say that I think everyone has that. There's a difference between, to me, about like owning and accepting the body that you have, and but still having things that you want to change. Like, I don't think anyone would really say with 100% accuracy that everything about them they love.
Mm-hmm.
But I think accepting and owning that you like what you've got is cool. And as we're sitting here talking about stuff, I'm looking down at myself and I go, yeah, since I've moved into the house and I've been here a couple years, I've gained some weight, and I know I have. Am I comfortable with it? I've gotten comfortable with it. I think that's part of it, is that I've grown in acceptance that in order for me to get to the ideal that I potentially would want, it's going to take a lot of work. And right now, I'm not ready to put in that work. If you want to, then go right on ahead, and you can do that, and you can, trim yourself down and do whatever you want, as long as you're doing it for you. And that's the kind of big thing for me that has always been like the focal point of my life in regards to like being your body and whatever, is as long as you are doing it for you, then go right on ahead. The minute you say, or the moment you're saying, I want to do it for, I want to get, a boyfriend, or I need to get I want to, do this for a job or whatever, then it's becoming, to me, an issue, because you're no longer doing it for yourself. You're doing it for someone else or something else. And it's not really you taking pride or acceptance in your body and wanting to change it. It's you wanting to change it to fit some other mold, sometimes literally, And that's, I think, one of the bigger differences.
Yeah. It's one of the things over the years that like I've been coming to terms with, in that, like, when I first started, determining and understanding my interest and sexuality, I found that I had a lot of like embarrassment and shame because I'd always been big, and I felt, uncomfortable, especially around other guys, being in a gym, having to change clothes. That was mortifying in elementary school. Because it was a thing in our school, starting in 5th grade, you had to change clothes for gym, and they had locker rooms. The boys and girls were separated, and then in 6th grade, you had to start taking showers, and the gym teacher watched you. Like, there was no way to get out of taking a shower unless you like had a medical excuse of some sort, which was kind of insane. But I was like really concerned about that. And then over the years, like it's kind of come and gone, like how I feel about my body. Recently, I was talking with somebody that I have an online crush with. He's partnered, so it's not so much about, us living happily ever after. It's more about, boy, you fine as hell. Like, I'll get sweaty with you. I mean, that's not what I said to him. Like, I just had followed him. I've been following on Tumblr for a while, and then I found him on another app, and I was kind of like, hey, like I just sent a wiki emoticon or something, and it started up a conversation, and then we shared images, and then he described in detail what he'd like to do, and I was kind of like, oh, alrighty then. But I was really kind of surprised because he basically was delivering the message of, I don't think there's anything wrong with you the way you are right now.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, oh, well, so for maybe half a day, I kind of was feeling myself. I was like, well, righty then.
Let me feel my oats. Let me feel my oats.
And I think, it for me, it comes and goes. It really depends. Like, if you were to ask me yesterday when or the day before of those 2 days, where I was a sweaty mess and, you have to take a break and rehydrate, and you're just like, and all you think is, fuck, I'm old. Like, and out of shape or whatever. If some man, it don't matter who the man was, even if it was like Hadrian, and he was all like, I'd be like, no, just
now is not the time.
First of all, I gotta take a shower. Second of all, I am so like not at a good energy level. This will be a miserable experience. Like,
and what's worse is that's the time when like when you're feeling like when you're sick or when you're like down, like that's when like all the like guys like start showing up. Like it's the worst. Like I don't feel like right now, like for example, in the fact that like it's 80 degrees in my house, blah blah blah, 80 plus degrees in the house. I am hot, I'm sweaty, I do not feel comfortable. I don't really want somebody all up on me, because that's more body heat that I don't need at this point. And that is like the moment when like I'm getting messages on Growler, I'm getting messages online, like, you're really, I mean, no, I can't. Like I love you, but no, I'm not.
All the guys are in heat.
Ha!
See what you did there?
Yeah, I see what you did. And it's just one of those things. Like no, I wouldn't. I can't even like right now.
Like Arrow says in live chat. Like, where were you when it was winter?
Yeah. Exactly.
When we could create some heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so here's what I want to ask you guys. Like, what do you think body positivity looks like? And I'm using those words specifically because I think body positivity has confidence, and there's sexiness in confidence. But what does that look like? Like,
well,
I could read someone's profile and kind of get an impression that they're body positive, but I think it's more like a visual aesthetic kind of thing.
Well, I'll use like one example for me is I believe J-Bo Bear. Like J-Bo Bear like is thick all over. I believe all over. And he has an air about him that he doesn't let the fact that he's big deny him pleasures that he loves. He loves to dance. He loves jumping around and dancing around. I know someone like me, after about 2 or 3 minutes of dancing around, I'm getting a bit of a sweat going on, and I want to stop. Sometimes I don't, depending on the mood. But like for some guys, it's they're done. But he's so active and enjoying what he's doing that it glows off of him. That's for me, like I get an aura about him that is like just so happy and confident and loving what he looks like, and he knows what he looks like, and he is happy with that, and he's fine with that. And I think that's the body positive for me, or what the physical looks like. It's someone who has that, I want to just say a glow about them. Jeff, you were saying something? Oh, I thought you said something. Oh, but yeah, it was just, yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, Damon. I think J-Mo's an example of that. I think people who, there's a difference to me between like selfies or pose shots and body positivity. And it's kind of like what they talk about in the entertainment world, the it factor. Like lots of people can sing, but then some people can sing, like what it is it seems effortless when in fact it does take effort. And so that's one of the things that I pay attention to. And there's lots of guys, that I see online that I'm kind of like, alrighty then. You know, like there's
Yeah.
cute and then there's like handsome and hot and there's sexy, but there's this realm where kind of like you just seem really confident, you know, with
Mhm.
how you look and how you feel. Interestingly to me, I feel more often than not people that are nudist or naturists are
Yeah.
very much body positive, but not in a like, you know, I'm sexy motherfucker kind of way. It's
Yeah.
just this is the body I have. This is the body that
Yeah.
God gave me, Yahweh gave me, Jesus gave me, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, Gaia, whoever
Yeah.
you believe in,
Whatever.
Buddha
Yeah.
gave me. This is it. Like,
And that's so true. Like that's the thing I was kind of hitting at in the back of my head was this whole like there are people out there that don't give two fucks about what everyone else thinks of them. And I think that's the best part about body positivity is those that don't care what other people think and are free and able to be out there with their bodies normally. Like going to Roseland, I've gone there several couple years now, and every year there's always one guy, and I always remember that guy. There's always one guy who, in normal situations, I would have never. I don't think I would have ever seen this kind of guy like have their. They seem very. I'll use the word conservative, but I think that's not the exact word I want to go with. But they seem very reserved in regards to like when you have a conversation with them. They're kind of somewhat guarded or whatever. But when you see them at a place where they can kind of be free and literally be free, like with no clothing, what have you, there's so much so like open and out there and not, like you said, not giving two shits about what they, everything's out there. Everything's like literally like out there. Their balls are out, the dick is out. They've got sandals on because it's still rocky out there. But
right.
they're cool and they have no qualms about like wanting to cover themselves or wanting like having a conversation with you while they're standing there with nothing on. And I admire that more than anything else. I've seen, if you want to get local for me, someone who I think is very sexy and has a very, I think, positive nature about body positive nature about them. There's a guy here in Dayton area named Gonzo. And you know who I'm talking about. And
I have met Gonzo. Yeah. And I can't disagree with you, Damon. The reason why I interject is because when I met him, I was like, "Oh, who this motherfucker?"
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of oozes like this calm kind of like sexuality. Like, he's one of the people that I feel like not only is body positive, but if you believe in this kind of stuff, I think he like gives off pheromones, like exudes kind of sexiness without the arrogance. Like that to me is a big factor about body positivity. Like you can be a model, you could be a adult film actor, but when I'm gonna find you like even sexier or be more interested in you in a body positive way is when I don't feel like I'm trying to be sold on you. Like, look at how sexy I am, or whatever. And like you were mentioning, like I agree, some of the chat saying they agree about JMO being a good representative because while JMO has been used for like some of the Mega Wolf dances, I think, and some other stuff, and he's been in some music videos, as an actor or a dancer and stuff. That's great, but he doesn't kind of carry himself like, there's just isn't this air about like, you want this, you want to touch it. I mean, it's like, it's a different level.
It's a very freeing like nature. Like they're not like you said, I'm not trying to sell myself to you. I am who I am. So, I mean, touch the skin, honey, all the skin. Like I just like I was going with Gonzo, and the thing that I like, you're talking about selfies, and one of the things I've enjoyed mostly, he's been doing recently, I think because he's bartending at the artist bar. He's taking a lot of pictures of himself, and he doesn't take like just like here's a quick picture of me. He takes pictures of his entire like not entire body, but as much as he can get in the frame. But like like the other day he was wearing a singlet and and then like other days before he was like in a jock, and he just there's like you said like there's I agree with you about pheromones, but I also agreed about just like the oozing of something like of like be comfortable, be free around me. I won't care, you know. He is someone that will, I think, allow you to be more understanding and accepting of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I like most about those who are body positive is that they seem to want to share that with others, and not in a like you need to accept your body da 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 da, more like a like I'm happy with who you are, help me, let me show you how it feels, how it looks, how it is to be accepting and understanding of your own body. Everyone will have limitations, everyone has all those things, and I get that, but the thing that some of these people that I've been with are seen is that they allow you to express or be more open about yourself and being good and looking about yourself and allowing you to see some of the beauty that sometimes you don't always see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree with that. In the live chat earlier, there was a comment that I wanted to go back to. Chris had asked about what our thoughts were on reverse body shaming and like how that relates to body positivity. And he gave a really great example that has existed pretty much since day one when I came into the bear community, which is about the bear community having an opinion about small guys.
Mm-hmm.
Within the gay male community, we have, all this vocabulary. We kind of talk about like we have the bear community, which is actually made up of an animal menagerie because we have, bears and cubs and otters and foxes and weasels and anyways. Weasels aren't a thing. At least I don't think they are. But we for quite a long time, and I don't really say it anymore because I think I want to think that I personally have matured and moved beyond this, but we used to throw the word twink around often. And I know that it's still used in some references, but it is kind of meant to be, I think, mostly a derogatory reference to small, thin guys that have a certain kind of lifestyle, a certain kind of personality, so on and so forth. And I agree that, that there's been this kind of like reverse shaming issue where, it's like you're not hairy enough, you're not big enough, you're spicy. And that's the thing that I'm proud of over the years that the community's kind of evolved on. And we've had like even now contests where, they called them chasers and they're modifying. Some of them are, kind of referring it to more as like admirers. That kind of stuff where it's like everybody's welcome to the table. And, it doesn't matter whether, you have a 40-inch waist, or, a 28-inch waist or whatever.
It's one of those things for me that it was part of the problem when I joined, because I'm not exactly hairy, where it's like the idea behind the bear community was that you didn't fit that classic gay at the time mold. So you were not that. So in essence, you should be more accepting of those that are not that. But even if they are that, but they like you, like, what's the problem with that? Like, what's the problem with sharing and respecting their, interest or, enjoying the fact that someone is enjoying you or can enjoy you. Sometimes it can be, I will own it, there are guys that fall into that frame that can be annoying. And the only reason they're really annoying is that they feel, the only time for me that they're annoying is if I express interest, if I'm not interested, they seem to think that I should be interested because I'm giving them the attention, or they're giving me their attention. That's the ones that annoy the fuck out of me.
Right.
Like, I get, you're just like, right, no offense, you're not right. You specifically, not this group of guys, are not my cup of tea at this point. I'm not interested. It's okay for me to not be interested.
Right.
It doesn't have anything necessarily to do with your size or whatever. But when you come back at me with like arrogance and cockiness and bullshit that like you're, for some reason, the fact that you're giving me the time of day is the reason to that you're upset. I'm not having that. We're not featuring
right
that.
And that's like the opposite of being body positive. And that's a thing. I feel that it comes with experience and maturity. I was just thinking about this. I'm like, well, it's kind of like interviewing for a job or auditioning to get into like a stage production or to get a part in a movie or any of that kind of stuff. You are trying to find the fit. And so just because someone declines you doesn't mean you're ugly, doesn't mean you're not talented, doesn't mean you're not sexy. It just means you're just not a match. And that's the thing I think that people find a little difficult. I think those that are body positive, though, will have a better approach about how to decline, whatever's happening. I will say this, that for me, one of the things I'm probably the most proudest of is that smaller framed or built guys are not what I used to experience and also had a stereotype about, which is that they were some thirsty motherfuckers who were like barnacles and just wanted to leech on no matter what. There was a time where I felt like all like small guys were just like, and they were very grabby and hands-on and just like overwhelming. And to me, that was a huge turnoff. And it isn't to say that still doesn't exist. I think that's more personality. But for me, it seemed for a while, I know I was seeing a lot of like smaller individuals, with a less, body mass, just kind of like being very glommy and it's kind of like, that's all fine and dandy, but no. So
after a while, like, go ahead.
Do you think that, nowadays the thinner guys that we used to be like, ugh, not another twink, nowadays they're actually much better at, like, they don't feel like barnacle. Is that a word?
Yeah.
They don't feel very much like a barnacle. They're more of, they want to judge you, if you're attracted to them. If you're not, they're more friendly about it, and on their ends. So kind of like, as time has gone by, it went from that whole, they're all that handsy and such, that they're kind of really a turn off sort of thing, to hey, these guys can be, even though I'm not directly attracted to them, these guys can be great people, great friends, and they could probably just, scope a cruise with you.
Right. Yeah.
And be your wingman.
Well, but I think like I'm going to call it technology / the internet really has changed the landscape of this, because I think before we got so interconnected, there was sort of a desperation factor. And all of us were a part of that. I'm not just like saying that, slimmer guys were, or, those that, were overly body positive, perhaps. Like, I think we've evolved in that, and everyone's kind of like, oh, we all have a place at the table. Like we're all kind of a part of a bigger tribe. And so it's okay. And I think there's less of that, like, that oddity about, like, oh, he's fat, he's old, or, and all that kind of crap.
As Doe Guy said in the chat, we're all here for the same buffet.
And just because we're at a buffet doesn't mean that we're going to eat everything that's there.
Accurate. And what you're saying, Jeff, is something that I agree with. Like, there's been a shift, I think, in the mentality and thinking of people overall, not just bears and admirers or whatever, but everyone overall has kind of gone from this whole like exclusionary factor to allowing for differences of opinions without being gross and weird or rude and insensitive. I think there are people that are understanding and respecting that everyone has a things that they like. They have their preferences. They have the things that they enjoy. They have the things that they don't enjoy. And by understanding and respecting that, like you said, Jeff, they're not like glomming on or jumping on you like you're hot and just wanting to like do everything with you. They're now approaching it with a understanding of the possibility that they could be rejected and being okay with that.
And, not necessarily fully rejected, but also being that, because this is kind of a two-way street, because what I'm feeling here is because of this change of perspective from the bigger guy side, that the thinner guy's side would be able to come up, accept the rejection, but then be able to still be friends with that person.
Yeah.
And kind of like, as I said, turn into kind of that wingman, hang out, they'll probably hug and, have some sort of affection, but not the sexual. It's more like the friendship thing versus we're getting more friendly with each other.
And I think that we've learned through via technology that like the ocean is big. Like there are plenty of opportunities, plenty of fish, so to speak, out there. I think before that there was more of a desperation factor about, like, well, this is all that I see immediately in my view, so this is all that I'm aware of. Where now we're more interconnected, and you're kind of like every weekend practically there's an event going on someplace in the country or whatever that you can travel to, that you can go meet up with people. And I think a lot more events are more open than they used to be, including clubs. So I think the whole landscape has been changing in kind of that democratic, slow, progressive way, I think, on the issue of body positivity, whether, everybody's, a Lego perfect match or, gotta try some different sizes and different things.
So before we wrap this up, I think we should probably hit Chris's question here.
Okay.
Is it body positive to describe someone as big, like to identify which person in a room you're talking about, or is it more body positive to not, quote unquote, not see size?
Oh, that's a like gray area question that I've always been like about. Okay. There's, to me, I think body positivity is your own.
Right.
And how you choose to express it is how you choose to express it. So I'll start with that like generalized like overstatement. If I call myself big, then I call myself big. It often depends on the context and of what someone's saying. If you are in a room of people and there's a guy that you find attractive and you call him big and you're talking to someone else, I don't necessarily see that being an issue. But if you were to go up to someone and say, "You're big, I like you," like that's to me the issue.
Well, yeah, I think the way the question's not quite right, because body positive in and of itself is really a you thing, like a personal thing. Yeah. It's not really a external thing where you're thinking about somebody else. So describing somebody as big, I wouldn't necessarily say is a body positive or negative at all. It's just a descriptor of somebody else. But it's not really, I wouldn't say it's directly related to body positivity. It's about your own reaction, what you're interested in, and how you also say it. But I wouldn't say, as in regards to body positivity, that it really is necessarily body positivity or not. It's just because it's not directly related. Because I think body positivity is more of how you think about yourself versus thinking about somebody else.
So I think part of the issue is that body positivity, I think, is a very internal process. It's kind of like the term bear. Like people talk to me about like, well, how do I know if I'm a bear? And I'm like, well, you'll figure it out. And that's where I think people get confused because people think like bear is a physical thing. And while it can be, it's a label. Like it's a way you choose to identify yourself. So I know plenty of guys that fit the model, quote unquote, of what people think a bear looks like, but they don't call themselves a bear, and that's perfectly fine. And I think the same thing happens with body positivity. Like you can look at somebody and you could think to yourself, they're really body positive, and they may also choose that label or not choose that label. So I think that's more like an kind of internal process um, than anything. In terms of whether or not to describe someone as big, it makes me think of the joke. It's kind of like, hey, you see that guy over there? Which one? The one with the beard? Really? They all have beards. Well, the one with the glasses. Okay, half of them have glasses. You know what I mean? It's like how are you going to be able to describe them is a part of the communication factor, and I think there are different ways to do it. So I agree with you, Damien. Like I think you're saying, like if you were to say it to somebody else in a conversation, like you're describing another person, not hearing you describe them, that's a kind of a private conversation. And if you know the other person you're talking to well enough, you have your own language, so to speak. But to walk up to another person and start talking to them about what they are and the way you see them, you can do that. But I think you need to be prepared for them not being on the same page as you. So if someone was to walk up to me and be like, "Oh, you're a big boy," I'm probably personally not going to be a fan of that because I've been big my whole life and I was like picked on for that, and I don't have that kind of positivity where I'm just like, damn right I am. Like, I can say it, but it's like it's very different, especially if you're a stranger.
It's a difference between, I think for me, it's a difference between who you're talking to and what your intent is.
I definitely agree that I think it's about what your intent is, which is sometimes difficult to gauge, but
I think I think the long distance, when you're saying the big one, it's more of you're pointing out who you're talking about versus anything really being body positive necessarily. So I don't think it's really. I think there's I personally don't think that it has anything to do directly with body positivity, but.
Well, I think body positivity is kind of a mental state, and the question is maybe more about like, is it body positive to describe someone as big? If you're talking to them directly, I think there are far better ways to give them that message. Like
you look very comfortable in. I don't know if that sounds right, but because I have seen guys. Well, hell, I'll just use we've seen it on Drag Race. Rico O'Hara is one of those examples. She's always talking about how body positive she is. And we know she's a bigger person. She's a larger guy, bigger girl, guy, girl, everything. So, but she usually doesn't seem to have a problem with people. I believe she doesn't seem to have a problem with people telling her or calling constantly, or not constantly, but contacting her or telling her she's a large person, she's a big person. She's accepted the fact that she's big and people will call her that. So if I were talking about Eureka online and I said that big girl, I don't think she would have a problem with that per se. But the difference between that and, say, Joe Schmo on the street that you've not met yet or not encountered yet,
right?
They may not be as willing to accept that comment. We don't know their history. We don't know their story. And that's why I think you should because and as I think Chris was talking about, like, there is that shame on size and what have you. And there's that, it's a thing, so that, being big, being overweight, being fat, those words have in our realm a negative connotation. And while body positive is trying to change that, it's so much harder to change the world.
Right, and I think that's where it comes down to individual basis, like how we treat ourselves, how we talk about ourselves, and then also the next step is the next level out, like how I talk about another person, and so on and so forth. So how I talk about myself, how I talk about you guys because I know you, how I talk about strangers, and that's kind of where I think it's a slow progression that we're all moving in that direction. There's kind of a reference about America getting big. Yep, America's getting fat because we eat all sorts of bad stuff. That's the American diet. I hate to say it. I represent it. Hello. So, but I mean, and I think that's a factor though that's also contributed to it. I mean, to me, it's just kind of like beards. When I was a kid, like almost nobody had a beard, or very few did. And now, like, I can't walk anywhere without seeing a man in a beard. And sometimes,
and it's distracting.
Yeah, there you go.
So fucking distracting. But anyway,
speaking
I
of
we've...
extracting,
yeah.
Now let's show how we are body positive.
I'll tumble for you. I'll tumble for you. I'll tumble for you. I'll tumble.
Okay, I totally forgot to actually pull anything, but that's okay.
It's all right.
I thought I had something, but I forgot to pull it.
Oh, I'm sure you've got something to pull. You just didn't.
Not exactly what I was referring to, but go ahead.
Close enough.
Anyways, Damon, go ahead and start. I do have something. I just forgot to put it.
Yay!
You're welcome, Gary. So we haven't really talked about him in a while, and I just thought I just happened to see this one in my Tumblr feed. This is Daddy by the Pool, and this is Mr. On Fire 40. I believe he's in his California area, and it's just a really great picture of him. Yeah, we all know our lust for him, and now he's it's just a really good picture. So
I mean,
nice...
this is like perfect stroller meat.
Yeah.
He is actually our third pedestal.
Yeah.
Of our guys that are on the COL pedestal. On Fire 40 was for a while binged, was a heavy flow fan. He was really into us, and we were really into him because he has beautiful ink over most of his body. He's got this picture in particular is unusual because it's from the front of him. Most of the pictures we ever see are from the back of him because he's got this beautiful tattoo work done on his back. That he's got his chest done. He's got sleeves. He's been slowly, his whole body will probably be covered. He's got his sides coming around to his belly. He's got his shins and calves done. And he's wearing a cute little like brief style short trunk.
Yep.
Showing off them thick legs. Yeah, no, he and his man up in the San Francisco area, California, and in fact, his two girls are visiting him from back home. So yeah, no, I saw this picture like on Instagram or something in the past week, and I was like, oh hey there, Daddy.
Yeah. And I needed to share it because it's just he's handsome as hell.
Reblogged. I remember, I think the first time that we saw a picture of him was when he, on the back of one of his tidy whities, wrote "Cubs Out Loud."
Yep. So are we going back to you, Jeff?
Yeah, we're going.
Holy cow!
So, mine is called 69s Can Be Fun.
Oh.
This is from Bare Ass Naked, and I think that's his partner. I don't really pay that much attention because I'm actually not on Tumblr that much. But they are currently in a 69. He's getting sucked off, and he's eating ass.
That's wonderful. That's quite a mouthful. On both sides of that.
Both sides.
Okay. Damn. All right.
Oh, ended up being nice and quick.
Yeah. Woo. Damn. Kind of Eat 'em. We're
Doe Guy
fans.
says the only dinner for two.
And yes,
Nice.
this is the point of this segment, Chris. Being distracted. Gary, what do you got?
Mine is titled "Rainy Day Looks." I'm just gonna say it. This motherfucker right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in lustificated. I made up a whole new word because I'm infatuated. He's this beautiful thick boy. He is reclined back, looks like on a couch. On the end, he's wearing like a knit ball cap. He's got glasses, this nice thick full beard. He's got some ink on his left, what I think is his left or right shoulder blade. Something on his right arm, a little thing on his chest. But he's wearing some shorts. But what I love about this is that it's just this kind of fun pose, and it looks like he's enjoying a day. And so it says "Rainy Day Looks" hashtag gay bear, hashtag body positive, hashtag gay, hashtag fat and happy, hashtag chubby, hashtag men, hashtag bear week 365, which I think is a thing that's going on. Hashtag the bear bag, hashtag beard, and he be in my state, Philly, PA, or at least at the time when the picture was taken, he was, because it's from last year. So
That's pretty much kind of how I've been in most of the week, at the corner of the couch, leaning back. Although I've had my 2DS in my hand and playing Pokemon, but very similar.
Yeah. So that's my pick.
Nice. And going to his Tumblr feed, he's quite. Yeah. Okay.
Follow. Okay.
Yeah, following now. Look at this guy. Woohoo. Okay. Moving right along.
Not enough pictures on this blog, but that's another matter altogether.
What you doing, Jeff?
Okay. Moving on to the links. So the game that I got really frustrated on because I thought it was too short was Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
Which apparently they're working on a trailer for, or a movie of. And it's pretty interesting, but I hate it because while kind of like the main mystery has completed, the actual like premise, like what got Detective Pikachu and his partner Tim together in the first place, what they were initially starting to investigate, never gets resolved. So they start off, they have this, they take a look, they're looking at this one kind of series of cases, trying to figure out this one diabolical plan. But the whole reason Tim is even in town before he meets Pikachu is to look for his father. They never resolve that. All they know is that he's alive. You can still keep looking, but
maybe that's part of the movie.
Who knows?
Or that will be the sequel game. They'll finally remember, oh, that's right, I was looking for Dad. I totally got sidebarred by this.
The thing is, at the end of the game, the kind of epilogue was, once they finish it, they end up going out the door and it says, "Let's find your dad." And actually Pikachu is his dad's Pikachu.
So. Well, there you go.
Okay.
So his dad's Pikachu and his son, or this guy's Pikachu and his son, are trying to look for him. Pikachu was in the accident right before he disappeared, but doesn't remember exactly what happened. So Mewtwo's involved. It's crazy. It's totally worth $40. But that's and you can get, if you don't want a 3DS, you can get a 2DS for like $80, which for a game system that's really cheap. And it works just as fine. So
cool.
But yeah, it was a really fun game. There was the demo they had. I played it. And I'm like, oh, I want to continue, and so I just bought it. And It's really, really good. So check it out. Got a link. I'll have the trailer in the show notes. You can take a look, and a link directly to Nintendo's website where you can purchase it. Damon, what do you got?
Hey. So YouTube, in its random thing, sent me this short movie called In the Light. And I'm just going to read really quickly the description. It says, 2 men wake up disoriented after a passionate one-night stand. Now, having been intimate, they discover how to be honest with each other and themselves. And it's a 6-minute, or not 6 minutes, but it's about 6 minutes long. And it's a really great, just really cute movie with the after effects. And just, I'm not trying to spoil it. That's why I want you to kind of watch it. But it's the guy who's the shaved of the two is a very handsome man. He has a very hairy chest, blah, blah, blah. But it's very interesting, the dynamic between the two. And this video is actually several years old. I just don't know why it randomly, like I said, it randomly showed up in my recommendations from YouTube. So enjoy. I like it. I like what it says. I would say this much: be careful about reading the comments, because there's a lot of stuff about people having problems with relationships and what have you. And the only thing I will say is we don't know the full story of this guy's relationships. And that's part of why I'm enjoying it, because we don't know what's going on. The ending kind of gives you a glimpse of something, but it's very cool. It's very sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. So give it a look. I think people will like it.
Cool.
Nice.
Gary.
So the title is not the full title. I call it World's Fluffiest Pancakes. The title is actually I Tried the World's Fluffiest Pancake, So Tasty. But I didn't want to write that because I personally did not try the World's Fluffiest Pancake. If you're familiar with Hannah Hart, she goes by My Harto on YouTube. She is a YouTube entertainer of sorts. She and her girlfriend are in Japan, and they're doing things like going to a cat cafe, an owl cafe, and seeing the sights. And they went to this world famous best tasting pancake place. It's a cute little video. It's about 3 minutes long. It's awesome watching them eat these crazy looking pancakes that look like biscuits. Like they're not long, round, flat like we're used to in the US. They're very deep, thick, and short.
They're 2 or 3 inches thick.
Yeah, they're crazy, but it's so funny because Hannah's they just melt. She's like, I'm eating the best air ever. It's hysterical. She's just it's they obviously have them down to a science. And the thing is, you have to get a reservation in advance and blah 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 and a bunch of stuff. So but I just thought it was really kind of funny to watch someone freak out and just become a puddle of craziness about a pancake and how tasty it is. Yes, Doug, Japanese style pancake. So there's a part of me that's I want to know how to make them. But obviously it's probably a secret proprietary recipe with 11 herbs and spices or some crazy shit. So
I'm sure there's a way to find the creations or that show you recommended with the patissier making gourmet style stuff.
Over on Bon Appetit. Yeah, I could send them a suggestion and be like, "Hey Carla, I need you to show us how to make these." And then watch her get grayer and grayer over the days trying to perfect the recipe or figure it out.
She does have hard times, but hey, when you're trying to basically recreate something.
Yeah.
Anyways. Hey, guess what, folks? That's the end. Aww. By ways to contact us, you can pop over to our website, comesoutloud.com, shoot us an email at comesoutloud@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail, sexy or otherwise, at 361-CO. We'll talk at 361-265-8255. Put that in your phone so that you can if you have a nice quick thing when you're listening to the podcast, you could just speed dial us. Find us on various social media outlets, at Comes Out Loud in the appropriate place of the URL. That's Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Google+, and, of course, right here on YouTube. You can join our entourage chat at tinyurl.com/telegram-col. And don't forget, you can support us by buying some merchandise off of zazzle.com/comesoutloud. I'm working on a new corkscrew, which should be up very soon. And you can also become a patron at patreon.com/comesoutloud. We're just $33 or something like that away from the random raffle. So if you would like to get some new merchandise, get some random merchandise, which could be anything from a pin to a t-shirt. Probably we're gonna have to sort out the exact items, because we're gonna kind of put a cap on the amount, just because we want to keep some of our money.
No Maseratis. Sorry. Not in the budget.
Sorry. You can rate us on iTunes. Give us a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, and subscribe to us at Google Play Podcast. You can find me anywhere on the internet as BoxType, Box Puppy, Box Cup, Box something or other.
I am Theater Cub 79 on Bear Sites, or you can find me as pup_umbra on Twitter.
And if you want to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as Garbear73. That's GARBEAR73.
And with that, say good afternoon, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one, y'all.
We're all stretching and yawning.
I'm tired.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Still got an hour and a half with Gary before he needs to do his thing.
Well, so I got to throw some shorts on, go empty my car, because we didn't empty it last night. I have all the miscellaneous odd-shaped stuff in the back of my car. Lots of long things, walking stick and pool cues and a telescope and a kind of art piece thing, and things of that nature. So once the car's empty, then pretty much going to leave, go to the house, and begin some of the cleanup, and then H is going to meet me there and finish up with some of the stuff that's left for packing. She's going to attempt to get the 2 bicycles in the back of her car.
Oh, God.
Which I'm not sure how that's going to work. I think one of them might be trying to fit in my car. I'm not sure either. Excuse me. And then pretty much, just do the final walkthrough and then leave the keys and come back here and try to figure out how to make our way through. Oh, my goodness. It got to the point now where it's kind of like footpaths. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right.
I've been there.
I would say get the bedroom set up.
Well, they luckily, prior to me coming down, had already moved 3/4 of the kitchen and had already moved some of their bedroom.
Okay.
For the master bedroom. So, but nice. like the dining room table right now is literally covered in piles of hanging clothes because they just took it out of the closet yesterday, put them in the backseat of a car. But because both of them had to work today, it was like they had to empty their cars last night. That's what we were doing at 12:30 at night. So that way, when they both got up at 6 this morning, basically, they could drive.
Yeah.
All
The
that, so-
cars without all the stuff in the back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Oh.
yesterday the new place looked okay. It obviously looked moved in, and now it's like, Jesus Christ, you just moved in.
Yeah.
Like there's just stuff
Everywhere. Yeah.
So I'm
I would
lucky that
say
I got
say-
enough room for a mattress and a chair.
bedroom. Once you get that set up, then you can set up the bathroom and kitchen, and then kind of like work, basically work
Oh.
from the back towards the door.
Wow.
Yeah. See how it's just like,
Gee, they're not affluent at all.
what do you mean?
That's a lot of shit.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a lifetime of stuff. Like that's the other thing we were talking about and this is less than when they moved from Virginia up here. Like that's one of
Yeah.
the things. Like an old comedian, or George Carlin, may you rest in peace, had this, like, one of his things that he used to say is he's that we just like to buy stuff and we like to live in places and then we fill them up with more shit. Like, and we just keep getting bigger places to buy more shit to fill it up. Which
We
is
are
kind
an
of true.
affluent nation.
Well, and that's one of the things that, like they knew coming to this place that this was smaller than the previous place. So everyone is quickly learning, like, like, yeah, so we need to downsize. And so now they're
Garage
going to
sale.
Yeah, I see a garage sale in their future.
Well, I mean, that was like, we were talking about some of this stuff. I was like, my basement is completely full at my place and I live by myself. But I was talking about it. I'm like, well, this is like, I got a whole bunch of stuff that's like mom's. And then I've got stuff from college, it's kind of high school stuff that's mine. And then I got a bunch of stuff that I've acquired over the years since I moved in. And then I've got the Drench First stuff, and I've got the Pride Organization kitchen stuff, and I've got other, it's just, it accumulates. And I'm like, yeah, hopefully my landlord doesn't see my basement like in the next week or two if she does a random stop, because she will blow a gasket. She's been on my ass for like 2 or 3 years. She's like, you've got a lot of stuff in your basement. Well, now it's like, it looks worse than it ever has. So I'm like, yeah. So I should live by the rule. Like, if one thing comes in, 1 or 2 things go out. Like, it should be really that simple. But yeah,
Everyone wishes it were that simple. It was that easy.
Yeah. Correct. I kind of wish if I had $1 million. Besides, I would.
I had $1 million.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I would make sure to have. I would probably make a digital media server and try to make sure everything is digitized in one way, shape, or form. Purchasing things on Amazon and such, so that I can watch it on my Apple TV. Just make sure I've got everything on my DVD, my CDs digital, and see if I can sell them off. But this would also mean that I would have to do work, which I'm really terrible at doing.
Well, that's one
like,
of the
I'll
things
get a
we talked
podcast taken care of and everything, but when it comes to actually like doing things I should do, like getting rid of DVDs and CDs and such, and like my comic boxes haven't been open in I don't know how long. But if I could like purchase everything that I have in my comic boxes on like Comixology, so that I would like just digitally have access to them, or even if I could somehow have them digital, that'd be great. Comixology would be great because I like how it works.
Right.
But, so thanks.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that we were talking about. Like, we were looking at, because you're helping pack stuff up, so I helped them pack the office, and they're like, "What's that?" And I was like, "I don't know. This is the heavy ass, kind of tote or whatever." And then I'm looking, and I'm like, "Oh, do you remember these?" And I'm pulling out like spindles of CD-ROMs, and they're like, "Wow," and they're like, "How the hell are we gonna?" And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Just stick it in." And I said, "What you should do," because they're like, "We should get rid of those, but it has stuff on it that we want." I was like, "Right." I'm like, "So you put it into your computer and you upload it to the cloud and you get rid of it." And they're like, "But we don't have anything that has a CD like drive." And I'm like, "Oh, that's a thing." So, yeah. All right. It's been fun, gentlemen. I appreciate you accommodating by doing the earlier time today. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll get a synopsis done here in a bit, Jeff, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody who stayed on the show. I'm gonna stop